Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the third episode of our Freyt Media podcast series, where we bring you logistics insights from around the world. These podcasts are hosted by our very own Freyt members with the sole aim to bring authentic insights directly to our members from our members. Today, we're going to be discussing a very hot topic, a topic that has been front page of any news outlet for the last 60 days or probably more, and a topic that's forever changing and is very fluid at the moment. Today, we're speaking about how tariffs are reshaping the forwarding sector and how forwarders are best preparing for this. We are gathered with a powerhouse trio to join us for this discussion. We have Mariana Salas from Welldex in Mexico. Welcome, Mariana. Michael Troy from Troy
Thank you.
Container Lines in the US, and Seymour Naideau from Freyt in Canada. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to have a quick discussion with us. Just for introduction purposes, do you guys just want to please just introduce yourselves, give us quick background about your company, and just keep it short, and just so everyone knows exactly who you are, where you based. Michael, should we start with you?
Absolutely. Thanks, Murray, for having me. Pleasure to be here and connect with everybody. I'm Michael Troy, the CEO of Troy Container Line. We're a neutral NVOCC. I am based in Red Bank, New Jersey, but we service the whole nation, West Coast, East Coast, South Atlantic, cover U.S. nationwide services for ocean freight.
Thank you, Michael.
Right.
And Mariana, should we go with you?
Thank you, Murray. Well, I am from Welldex Logistics. We do have offices in Mexico and Barcelona for the freight forwarding division, and also customs brokerage in basically every customs in Mexico.
Thank you, Mariana. And Seymour.
Hello, and thank you. Great to be here. My name is Seymour Naideau. I work for FreightSense. Our head office is in Toronto, Canada, and we've got a branch office in Vancouver. Serve the whole country, coast to coast. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. So, just for the audience listening, I want to make things very clear that the situation that we're discussing is obviously changing daily. What is said today might be very different tomorrow. But and just to showcase that, I've consolidated major updates that happened in the last 30 days, just to give you reference how this is changing. So, 1st of February 2025, the US imposed a 25% tariff on all Canadian and Mexican goods, including a 10% tariff on Canadian energy products. February 3rd, 2025, the US agreed to delay tariffs for 1 month after Canada and Mexico pledged increased border security efforts. February 10th, the US announced a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports from Canada and Mexico effective March 12th. March 4th, the US officially implemented the delayed 25 tariffs on Canada and Mexican goods, prompting Canada to impose tariffs on US imports. March 6th, the US granted a 1 month exemption from tariffs for USMCA compliant automakers, delaying some tariffs until April 2nd. And then March 12th, 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports took effect, leading Canada to expand measures on US consumer goods. And then we've actually just seen something right now that now Trump is threatening with 200% tariffs on all alcohol from Europe. Wowzers. Where do we even begin? Michael, yeah, what a roller coaster. Let's start with you. So, I mean, what I've just said in the last 30 days, like how do you even begin to prepare for this, not knowing what you're going into the next week?
Yeah, Murray, absolutely. Like you said, it's every day you go to sleep thinking one thing and you wake up hearing another. So, I mean, I think being prepared is preparing for change and preparing your clients for change. From our standpoint, on the neutral NVO side, we deal mainly with freight forwarders, custom brokers that are advising their clients, and we're seeing the questions, everything from how does this impact what's in place, supposed to be in place. We've been dealing with it from months before. A lot of our clients were front loading inventory in expecting some of these tariffs to take place. So we were seeing some of this start months back. But as far as preparing our clients or us internally being prepared, it's being resilient and kind of expecting change to happen over the coming days and weeks. Even from a system standpoint, Customs is trying to implement things as fast as possible, and I think that's been the biggest challenge. The speed between proposals and implementation has been the biggest hurdle, not only for forwarders, but importers, exporters, and customs themselves, realistically.
And then for the neighbors, obviously in Canada and Mexico, Mariana, how have you been how at Welldex, how have you guys been dealing with this and preparing your customers for this?
Well, definitely being informed. As Michael said, you go to bed and you're thinking about something, and the next day it already changed. Currently, being informed, we have to understand that we cannot change the situation, but we're working as our clients' advisors is to keep them informed. We have had some questions from our clients about what can we do, but the answer is we can't do anything, right? The only thing that we can do is to be prepared to advise them correctly and just try to keep up with Donald Trump's updates in the tariffs.
And Seymour, from your perspective, like from an operational standpoint, like, how do you manage your team in this, and how do you move ahead with this?
Like Michael and Mariana just said, this is something you just have to roll with the punches because you don't know what's coming your way. We don't know, the customers don't know, the authorities don't know. Customs are in chaos. And we've got our businesses to run. And when you look at running your business, the one thing businesses thrive on is stability. Right now, there isn't any stability that you can count on. It's just day to day. You're living with your heart in your mouth, and the only way you can keep up with this is not watching news or looking at what customs are going to do, or the only way to know what's going on is to watch. And this is not even funny, but to keep up with Truth Social, because that's where you find out what's going on at 3 a.m. in the morning. And that's no way to look. This is turning the whole world is in chaos right now. Everybody's talking about this. And as a freight forwarder, we are at the mercy of truckers, shipping lines, airlines. We don't know what's going on. Banks. You're looking at the stock market. Everything is upside down, and we just got to maintain our cool. Go to the office, look what's in our inbox, and just do the best we can.
I mean, I think, obviously Trump and everyone in power, they don't obviously want to see the stock market tank like it is at the moment, and there's a lot of fear in the markets. I mean, that their long-term plan is for there to be a recovery. Michael, what is your forecast for this? Or when is there a turning point? What does the future look like for us?
Making a forecast right now is a bold move, so I'm gonna stay away from that. But I mean, we've seen a lot of changes already, right? And we've seen proposals, we've seen what's going to happen, and then some pullbacks to what was supposed to go into place. I mean, if you look at, for the U.S., the e-commerce shipments, right? The elimination of the de minimis entries and options for which would have mainly impacted the e-commerce market. But we weren't in a place to collect those tariffs at scale, between Saturday and Tuesday, right? The infrastructure to set up to roll that out wasn't there. So that Friday, we saw all that get pulled back. Same thing on some tariffs that were proposed, and then you went through it on the introduction, pulled back as well. So, I mean, there's definitely a negotiation to all of this, and we're seeing it kind of play out in front of all of us in the public, which is, I think, most unique. And probably what's the biggest difference for everybody. So as far as a forecast, I don't have one. I mean, from our standpoint, like everybody's been saying, it's keeping everybody updated on how it impacts their business. If you look at the U.S., customs bonds, for example. Anybody that imports into the country, you need to have either a continuous bond or a single entry bond on file to collateralize the duty and tax that you owe. Now, the bond amounts vary based on the tariffs that you pay. So for our clients, a lot of these conversations are reviewing their continuous bonds and reviewing the different items that we have in place that we can control. And that's what we've been really focusing on with our communications with our clients right now, and then seeing the opportunities in it as well. I mean, there are a lot of suppliers and shippers right now that we're selling things on terms to door and building in the tariffs in the unit pricing that aren't doing that anymore. So now we have a lot of importers here contacting us as a logistics company, contacting our freight forwarding clients, asking, can you help guide us? We've never dealt with the custom clearance process. It was always, handled by the suppliers. So there is opportunity in it as well, and educating our clients on how they can service that business and new opportunities that come up. It's been something that we've been focused on.
So speaking of the importers and exporters, so one of the questions that came in from one of the members is for Seymour and Mariana is, can you already see importers and exporters from Canada and Mexico already looking at new markets like the EU? And if they are, what potentially are they looking at? Seymour, do you want to start with that?
Sure. The only way to beat this, or the only way to stay afloat, is to look for new markets. And Canada's got, just like we've got USMCA or CUSMA, like you call it, the Mexicans have a name for it too. We've got something called CETA, C-E-T-A, with the European Union. And when that started back in 2019 or 2020, it was small, but now it's grown. We've taken advantage of it. The Europeans have taken advantage of it, but we haven't really expounded on it because our biggest trading partner was down to the south of us, right? And 60% of everything that we have or we manufacture in terms of raw materials or finished goods or even lumber and dairy and electricity and energy, all of these things go to the US. So why look for a market further afield? But that is what Canada is doing right now. It's evident. We're selling oil to China, selling more LPG to the European Union. So, I mean, had we done this earlier, we wouldn't have faced this problem. But right now, and we didn't have any need. Look, this is very unfortunate. This is not something we wanted. It was not something we thought would happen, but here it is on our doorstep. And it's affecting everybody. It's affecting the Americans. It's affecting us. But being a smaller economy, a smaller population, it's affecting us more than it's affecting them. Look, we all are reliant on we call them RRSPs. And I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know what you call them in Mexico. In the US, you call them a 401k. Our RRSPs with mutual funds in the markets are not doing good at all. 401k is not okay. It's tanking for everybody. So we've got to find a way to find new markets, to look at, and that pushes us into, because you're vulnerable right now. Canada's got all of these natural resources, and it makes us vulnerable because we are going to be going into the arms of China and countries that are not like-minded. And I don't know how this is all going to play out, but
I don't think anyone does.
Right, but we've got to take it one day at a time and look for the EU and other countries like Japan and Korea to take our product and bail us out. This may go on for a month, 2 months, or it could be all of the 4 years that Mr. Trump is in the White House. So we got to be prepared and just take it one day at a time.
Yeah. And Mariana, for you guys in Mexico, I mean, I would presume you're doing similar measures, looking for new markets outside of the US for imports and exporters.
Well, yeah, certainly. One of the options I was talking earlier with one of my colleagues is that since Mexico is in the top 10 of countries with more trades agreements, one of the options for our clients is going to be to, to diversify their markets. Maybe try to look for other suppliers, other options for them to try to mitigate the impacts of the US tariffs.
So and then Michael, I guess the same for the US. I mean, are there any reports from US officials hinting at potential, measures to facilitate new trade routes into the US?
Yeah, I mean, from our clients' standpoint, I mean, we've seen a lot of shift really, going back to Trump's first term. Obviously Vietnam has a lot of growth, Southeast Asia, India, Mexico saw that growth as well. But for going forward, I think a lot of our clients or a lot of our market has been focused on just diversifying in general. But where you're bringing that diversification is kind of the challenge right now with the uncertainty of trade agreements. And, Vietnam has its own risks right now, and other countries are carrying certain uncertainty in what tariffs go into place. So a lot of clients, like I had mentioned, had front-loaded inventory. We did see that as a strategy for clients. And then now it's a kind of a waiting game over the next days, weeks, I think, before you're not changing these supply chains overnight. Even the people that have been diversifying over the past few years, it takes time. So, this has been going on for a little bit now. We saw some strategies of bringing in inventory during Q4 to prepare for it. But as far as shifting supply chains, it's kind of a waiting game, I think, right now, as far as hitting the gas pedal on any of that. But we've seen that trend over the past years, but just the hesitation now to shift anything, just with uncertainty in other markets as well.
Now, I'll tell you what, if you are a control freak, OCD, have to be in charge, freight forwarding is not the industry for you at the moment, because the word uncertainty has come up about 20 times this whole podcast. And it's like, it's, obviously we run a network and you guys are obviously on the ground doing the operations. And I'm listening to this and I'm just like, I can't imagine what it must be like in the office where you arrive and what's happening today is going to be completely different tomorrow, and it might be completely different the next day. You just don't know what you're dealing with. I have massive respect for you guys and the patience you have during this. I genuinely do. It's crazy. But so looking forward, which industries and Samuel, maybe you could answer this from your perspective, but what industries and commodities are going to be hit hardest over, the next few months with what's happened up until today?
I think it's going to be, for Canada, it's going to be everyday items. It's going to be housing. You're going to look at big ticket items. You're looking at housing. You're looking at steel and aluminum. Where are we going to find? Okay, we've got these products. Where are we going to find a buyer to take it to? Like Michael just said, and like Mariana said a little while ago, you just cannot switch this over. It takes time for the shipper to find a freight forwarder, for the importer to find a reliable customs broker. It takes years, or it takes time, right? It takes a few shipments. They got to try it out. For trade to turn around and go somewhere else, for somebody to supply something to someone else, it's going to take even longer. So it's going to be a bloodbath in the short while. In the short term, this is not going to get sorted out. It's just going to be pain. Maybe in about 6 to 8 months, you're going to see it slowly. You think you've seen the bottom, but I think you're going to slowly see small results, small victories new trade agreements, the EU looking deeper to see what they can do. We don't know how long this is going to go, but to answer your question in short, we're going to face a problem with every commodity, everything.
And
There's going to
Mariana,
be cost
yeah,
pressures.
yes, yeah, yeah. And Mariana, you think the same for Mexico? You're also going to feel the pinch there across the board? So which industries and commodities are going to be hit hardest over the next few months?
Automotive. Automotive will be one of the industries with more impact in the tariffs, definitely.
And Michael, your perspective on that?
I agree. The automotive has dominated the news. I mean, obviously, the aluminum and steel is a big one just because these tariffs are layered, right? So these tariffs aren't replacing old tariffs. A lot of these are stacked tariffs one on another, and the aluminum and steel will be impacted. And at the end of the day, it's the capital behind it, right? So it's going to be the trade finance, the banks that that are financing these inventories that dictate what capital is deployed and what that capital costs. That really will, at the end of the day, dictate the orders and how much inventory people hold and how much inventory can be on the water, how much and really what that supply chain is. We have seen obviously the financial metrics are a lot of projects change, right? If you change the cost of some of these products by 25%, that's going to change the financial models and the loans that are against those financial models for those companies. So I think it's going to be, to agree with Mariana, the automotive industry will be a big one, but we'll see it across a few different industries.
So we've been quite I wouldn't say negative, but somewhere around there the whole podcast. Let's try look at just to close off here on something positive. And if there's anything positive we can take out of this, Seymour, what would you say?
There is ample scope for what we have in terms of natural resources. This gives Canada so much more leverage to open up and sell to anybody we want to. All we got to do now is explore those options.
Yes.
And that is a good thing, because now we're a country that has sea to sea to sea, and we've got the North Passage. There's so many pluses when you look at Canada, and the same with Mexico and with the United States. But it's a market that has been, for the lack of a better word, kind of dormant. We've been so complacent and been in place, and Big Brother's been there, and it's been that kind of way, from it's ages and ages that this goes. It's kind of shocking for even the Americans. Like, they must be wondering, why are we doing this to Canada? Of all people, why are we doing this to Canada?
Is that what
Like,
you're thinking,
why?
Michael?
Mike is probably, on side with this, like everybody else. But it's like, and now it's our turn to. Oh, we don't want this. We really want to go back to the way it was. But when push comes to shove, everybody's got to defend themselves and look for ways to survive. So I think the good thing that came out of this is that, okay, it's opened our eyes, and it's brought the country together, and it's never been like this before. Can you think of the opposition party seeing eye to eye? They're fighting like Trump was saying, eating the dogs and cats. They were fighting like dogs and cats, and this has actually put the country back together. There's unity among the people, among the political parties, everything. I mean,
Who
state,
knew?
municipal, they're all together on the same bandwagon, and you're like, oh wow. So these are the good things that's come out of this.
I do love your Canadian positivity, Seymour. It's great. Mariana, and yourself?
Well, I think that if we take a step back and maybe think of the origin of these tariffs, and thinking about why they were imposed at the first time. I think that one of the positive things that we've seen is Mexican government taking action in terms of organized crime. I mean, this is not logistics related,
Yes,
but
no,
it
but
could be.
it's a good point. So
But I
can
think
you
that,
give us an example of what's happening there, just for people that don't know?
yeah, well, first of all, as you know, we do have our president Claudia Sheinbaum, and she hadn't had the acceptance at first of Mexican, but now with these measures and the way that she took this steady position with President Trump with the tariff implementation, and now that we've seen her taking action in going back and think with cool head about what we can do to maybe try to get some reciprocity from President Trump, I think that it will take our president to a better place with Mexican, and she actually had a great acceptance of on this way of negotiating with him. So I think I've never seen this before. I mean, I'm 29, right? So it's not that I've seen a lot of things happening in government with much information like I do now, but definitely that's one of the things that I think it's good for Mexican nowadays.
So Seymour and Mariana, you said you just brought your governments together. Michael, any positives for you?
Yeah, I mean, you said it before, Murray. There's a lot of chaos in the industry, and I'll keep it freight related because that's the audience here that you have, right? So, from a freight standpoint, you brought up the chaos of the day, but freight forwarders, NVOs, custom brokers, pretty resilient businesses, right? And I think everybody proved that. The whole industry proved that over the last, throughout the COVID times and the chaotic volatility that we saw. And this is another instance. We went through some labor strikes or potential labor strikes this year in the U.S. So our industry is extremely resilient to be able to adapt to changes. And there's a lot of opportunity coming out of this, right? The importance of your custom broker, the importance of your freight forwarder, right? If you watch the news, the freight business is the first story of every everything you're watching. So we've had a lot of clients reaching out, new opportunities that have come up. There's some other measures in place that will change the market. You see, potentially the 1.5 million per port penalty that goes in on Chinese, depending on how many Chinese box ships you have built in your fleet. That will change capacity in the market as well. So, from the freight forwarder perspective, from the NVO perspective, being there for the clients that have all these questions and to navigate these challenges, there's opportunity that goes along with that, and we're able to show our value, in the more chaotic times, right? When it's smooth and easy, it's sometimes the freight forwarding industry kind of gets put on the back burner. During these times, you need to be your custom broker, NVO, and freight forwarder is normally on speed dial in times like these.
Yeah, I'll say it and I'll say it again. It's people who don't understand the logistics sector, who don't understand freight forwarders. They are the most resilient people you'll ever meet in your life. You have no idea what they go through. So we have massive respect for every single one of you. Truly, truly, truly. It's it makes our job look very, very easy compared to what you guys have to go through on a daily basis. So we have a lot of respect for you. So I think on that positive note, I think that's all we have time for today. So in closing, thank you very much for joining us. I know the wider freight community will be hugely grateful for your insights today. We will obviously continue sharing. I hope everyone watching has enjoyed this. Please don't forget to subscribe to our page. We also have our conference coming up in October, which is called Freyt Meet. If you are interested, please get in contact with us today. Mariana, Seymour, Michael, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you, Murray. Thank you,
Good
Mariana.
luck
Thank you, Murray.
and be safe.
You guys too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You too.